And tonight, we're talking about The Night Porter from 1974, directed by Liliana Cavani. From Letterboxd synopsis, the most controversial picture of our time. In this unsettling drama from Italian filmmaker Liliana Cavani, a concentration camp survivor discovers her former torturer and lover working as a porter at a hotel in post-war Vienna. When the couple attempt to recreate their sadomasochistic relationship, his former SS comrades begin to stalk them. Operatic and disturbing, The Night Porter deftly examines the lasting social and psychological effects of the Nazi regime. So, first of all, this is a movie that I rented on videotape way back in the day because I'd seen that this movie called The Night Porter with this really striking DVD cover existed, and it's just this naked broad with Nazi hat, tits out, and this big swastika in the background. It's the original cover is it's pretty striking, and then but back then I couldn't afford buying a Criterion DVD, but they had a copy of this fucking movie on VHS at Video Gallery in their drama section, and I was like, whoa! And it's the VHS of this thing even looks even grimier. It's oh, what the hell is this? Ooh, this feels bad. Oh, Nazis, that's really bad. So I watched this movie ages ago, and I remember at one point watching this movie and thinking oh, this movie's awesome. I fucking love this movie. It's just weird and seedy and stuff I'd never seen before. And I would, when people I'd write lists of my favorite movies or whatever, my favorite Criterions, I'd have The Night Porter on there. And this was back in 2002 or something like that. And then I remember I think I've got the DVD sometime after that, a few years later. Maybe I found it on sale somewhere. Going up to the counter with this picture, this movie of Charlotte Rampling looking like a sexy Nazi girl, and I remember watching the DVD and being kind of oh, this movie is not as cool as I remember it being. I remember it's kind of long. It's oh, it's really gray and kind of looks crappy. And then, so I haven't watched this movie for a very long time. So this was watch number 3, and I hadn't watched this probably in 10 or 11 years. First of all, there's always that great joy of watching your old Criterion DVDs and finding out that they are non-anamorphic, which means that you get to watch a crummy old grainy postage stamp on your big television. That's great. And overall, my impression of this movie now is that this movie is really, really long at 2 hours. I was thinking that this movie was going to be 90 minutes. And then when I kind of checked what time it was and realized, oh, it's been 90 minutes, but there's still a half hour to go. I was just fuck. So in my opinion, I feel like this movie has not aged well at all. I don't know if it necessarily was ever all that good in the first place. It's kind of hard to say.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something, I don't know. I don't even know how to put it.
Come on.
There's something just lacking in this movie. It's just characters doing stuff. I mean, it helped kind of spawn the whole exploitation genre of Nazi exploitation, where you have titles like Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS, Gestapo's Last Orgy, Love Camp 7, that sort of stuff. And those movies are all kind of exciting and trashy because they're B movies that just go for broke and try to go for shocks. Whereas this movie is also, it's trying to be a respectable drama. And tell the story, but boy, does it take its time to get there. It kind of reminds me, because there's another I wouldn't call it a Nazi exploitation movie, but it's very much in the same realm. It's called In a Glass Cage, and this is a movie that seems like it has more of a positive reception than this movie does. But I'd say it's very similar. It's about it's in Argentina, and there's an old Nazi living in a iron lung, and this boy starts hanging out with them, and there's sort of the sadomasochistic relationship where he turns the oxygen off to fuck with them, and it's just the same old type of deal. I guess it all depends on what your mileage is when it comes to Nazis and like war crimes and what people do and like human psychology and stuff like that. I don't know if this movie here does any of that particularly well. Honestly, this movie was kind of a bummer. Coming back to it, I don't know. I have a feeling, RJ. I know what you think of this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I can't imagine you liking this movie one bit at all. But well, that's maybe presumptuous. RJ, what did you think of The Night Porter?
I have a one-word review for this movie.
Yep.
Cinema. Cinema, baby. Yeah, I don't like this movie.
No.
And like, I mean, I think you expected me not to like it, but I will give it a little bit of credit where credit's due. I did like that. I felt it had a very quiet storytelling, like
Yeah, sure.
where it kind of it lets the audience figure out what's going on. Like they don't guide your hand too much.
Yep, the flashback editing, telling
Yeah.
telling the background story, and it's done
So-
very lightly. Yeah.
So that was good. I thought it had sharp editing, and it was it kind of let you discover it. But then there were scenes where they just throw so much exposition at you, and you're just like, why is this here?
Oh man.
Why
all
do they
those-
have to
those-
explain this?
the meetings
Yeah,
with
the meeting? It's like you know that you did this thing to this person at this time, and it's like, yeah, I know that, you know that. Why are you even talking about it, other than to explain to the audience? So
but it's like, yeah, it's at odds with the way the rest of the movie's being made.
yeah, exactly. So I felt like that was one of the biggest things for me. I was like, this movie's really inconsistent because I feel like the director is trying to tell the story in a way she wants to,
Yeah.
but then the dialogue in the script are like contradicting it because like they explain what's happening to you when you're like, you already just went through like a big long quiet scene without like any words at all, and you figure it out for yourself. You're like, okay, I get it, and then they tell you what it is. It's like, just in case you didn't get it. But so like there's stuff like that I don't like. I thought this movie looked really bad. I thought it was made for TV. Not like I thought she shot it well and she has like good direction, but I feel like the actual film or like the cameras are dumpy, and like I don't really hold that against it because it's like they can't really control like the quality of the film they have. But when I watched it, it was like really grainy, and I was like, this looks like an old TV show.
Okay, there's something kind of to that because
Yeah.
European, I'm not sure what it is. Sometimes like European film stock can look like that. And like I was watching a really shitty looking DVD. Like it doesn't look good. Like this movie is on Blu-ray. It did get re-released, surprisingly, I guess. Like I'm not sure what the sales are on things like The Night Porter these days.
Sure.
But yeah, like I found that it looked murky. It was more so than the actual look, and I don't know if it ever looked like TV. It looked like a European movie, like I talked about last Halloween when I was like on my Jess Franco kick. A lot of his stuff looks exactly like this, but I'd say that his movies arguably look better in some weird way, but it's very similar film stock. And with all the Jess Franco stuff I've watched, a lot of it's been like Blu-ray, and even like that makes such a big difference because I imagine that you watched this kind of through your usual means, and I don't know what like quality that would have been necessarily. I mean, you might have wound up watching like a rip of this bad DVD.
I think that's probably what it was, but no, yeah, like that's I don't hold stuff like that against movies because it's like I get it. Like sometimes you can't afford like the most expensive film. Like I wouldn't hold that against them. It was just I just thought I would mention it. When it started, I was like, I feel like this is like a TV movie. But then I knew that it was a gross rape movie or something. So I was like, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't made for TV. So here's some actual notes I had. Monocles, huh?
Oh my god, my second note. Monocle Man. So I don't know what better way to signal, like when you're trying to like hide the fact that you're a Nazi in post-war Europe. I don't know if the monocle is the way to go about it, my friend. Like because all I think of when I see monocle is like Baron von Strucker,
exactly.
Colonel Klink. Like it's like that's as Nazi as it gets.
Oh yeah, yeah. The moment you see him and he's like, bellboy," you're just like, "Oh God."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I said monocles, huh? And then I put thongs, huh?
Oh, that dance number, huh?
The dance, yeah, that dance number. And then I said pale skin, huh?
That is one
Because
pale boy.
there's so much. Not even just him.
But
Everyone in this movie is so pale.
Speaking of glutes,
Oh yeah, he's got some beefy glutes,
yeah,
beefy
yeah,
buns.
yeah,
He's got
that
some
dancer
beefy buns.
body.
And then that led me to my next revelation, where as I was making fun of myself for the Planet of the Apes movies, my hot insight from this 50-year-old movie, which I have no idea how old this movie is. I don't care.
It's 74. So
Okay, so this 50-year-old movie,
yeah.
my hot insight is that Nazis love performance art, because that's all this movie is like a bunch of like old Nazis sitting in a room watching either a man dance in a thong or women sing and dance nakedly, and like it shows it so much. But it's not even just this movie. Like I feel like I've seen that in other movies too. Like is that just a Nazi thing? They just loved, like Shia LaBeouf would be like the hottest rage if the Nazis ever came back.
I don't know if they liked performance art, but they definitely liked they liked performance. They liked like the stage. I mean, there's that whole the movie Cabaret, for instance, which is
Neat callback. We never covered that movie, but
Nope.
maybe one day we will.
Liza Minnelli. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, there's like, I mean, that's the sort of this idea of like Nazis in theaters and stuff like that. I mean, that's in like Inglourious Bastards too.
Yep.
Going to the
Yeah, I know.
movies.
So I guess that is something. They just love performance.
I guess so.
Yeah. So I don't have much else to say. I think, well, like that. I don't think it's that bad. Like it's kind of gross, and I think it's gross, but I understand other people might not think it's gross. Like the scenes where it shows what he was doing to like torment her and stuff, they're well done. Like that one scene looks really good when like all the other people are like hurtled in the back, like just watching other people being raped.
Yeah,
it looks good, but at the same time it's like gross.
Well,
like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but it's like
it's shot well is what I mean to say.
Okay.
It doesn't look good. That looks good.
So my note here when you were talking about the dancing was, so while watching the movie, I got sidelined reading a story about how St. Louis is basically passing a law to reduce the minimum wage. So people who started making $10 an hour recently will lose out on money again in a month. And then a man with a spotlight on him running around in a room started happening. That's kind of like a play-by-play of my viewing experience, kind of where I started like drifting to my laptop when I'm supposed to be just taking notes, and then I'm like, oh, what's happening in the world? And I'm like, oh, now I'm outraged about something that's really happening, rather than like a movie about fictitious characters that were involved with something that really horrible that happened. So it's just like this thing where I'm like, oh, here we go. And then I wrote dem glutes.
Oh, dem glutes. Yeah, he had some beefy buns. Yeah. That's for sure.
And then goddamn degenerate Nazis. They're just that's what they do. They degenerate. They do bad things.
Yeah, bad people doing bad things, and it's like sometimes I don't know. Like I feel like I'm kind of a weirdo for these things. Like sometimes I really like movies like that are like just kind of like gloomy, and it's like, man, people really suck and the world's depressing and people do bad stuff. Like sometimes I really like those movies.
Did you like The Road?
Yeah, I do like The Road. So see, that's like I like The Road. I like The Pianist, which I watched for the first time a year ago. I feel like that's a dark, depressing movie about.
That's a different type of thing though, because I don't really know if sexuality plays any role in that movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like there's like that line of like ickiness, I guess.
Okay, yeah. Oh, actually, so maybe that's what it is. Like, I do like those dark, depressing movies with like horrors of humanity, but I don't really like the sexual violence stuff. You can call me a square.
I don't think you're so.
Or a vanilla.
But I mean, you're not supposed to like that stuff though either.
I know.
But like, I guess it's like that line of like, but you're not like a rare creature. Like, there's a lot of people don't like that in their fiction or like in the stuff they watch, because it sort of like draws attention to itself where it dominates everything. It's kind of like what happened with the like like the conversation with like Alan Moore comics, where like
Yeah.
a lot of his comics, it's like, oh, and then there's the woman gets raped bit. Like there's a rape in every like Alan Moore comic, and it's kind of like, well, that's weird, because you can read like a lot of different authors who don't talk about it at all, but he brings it up an awful lot, and it's
All
not
the
like
time.
he's presenting a pro rape agenda. He's just kind of like using it almost though as like kind of like a lazy trope, arguably. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're always like things that like they leave their mark. They make you go, oh, that scene.
So that's I think I've talked about it before, but it's a lot like what I was mentioning earlier with like when you kill the dog, like animal violence. I feel
Mm.
like animal violence and like sexual violence are really like they're like really cheap ways to make people feel bad. And it's like I know that stuff happens in real life. Like I get it. And it is sad, and people should like you should know about it, and like sometimes have to see it just so that like you know how bad it is. But I feel like on a lot of the time when people present those like those ideas or those themes and they're trying to make a point, like 80% of the time they do it in a sleazy way where they're like not actually trying to make you feel about it. They're just like, what's an easy way we can like make people feel bad? It's like, let's do this.
Yeah,
Girl gets raped and then her dog gets shot. Ooh, meow, meow, meow.
edgy.
Yeah. But
Well,
like
those movies,
I don't
those movies
yeah,
are gonna like. There's an audience for that stuff, but it's like not like
I
a
know.
mainstream
Yeah.
audience. It's just it's like kind of like, yeah,
Yeah.
who's this for? Like, other than like, I just want the world to know what it's really like.
Yeah.
And
I know.
there's a good way to do that, and there's like, because I mean, there's like movies like Irreversible or something like that, where
Mm.
that's like the linchpin of the movie is like this, like, well, it's two like extremely violent moments, one of like a man's head being just destroyed with a fire extinguisher, and that's followed up
Mm.
by a woman being violently raped in a tunnel, and it's like one prolonged shot. Like there's like nothing in Night Porter that's even remotely on the same level as like something like Irreversible. Like I'd say like
Right.
Night Porter is actually fairly light in that territory. Like it's not even
Mm.
like that edgy. Like
Right.
it's because I mean, I'd say at the same time, also, I mean, we haven't brought this up, but Liliana Cavani, female director, like she's going to bring like a different touch to this movie, as far as like, well, how she's going to depict it, because all those Nazi exploitation movies I mentioned, those are all directed by dudes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so,
I'm
and those
sure.
those movies are like full, like Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS. That movie's like way tougher to get through at times. Like there's some pretty degenerate shit in that movie. Um, you can borrow it anytime you want.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Thank you for offering though.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But no, yeah. So like, I guess like if I had to say, just for me to talk about this movie, I don't think it's bad.
Mhm.
And I think, like I was saying, like I think she does a really good job directing it, like the way she tries to tell the story.
Yeah.
But then there's like things like I was saying, like
The
the
story.
the clunkiness of the dialogue, and then like the story itself is kind of off-putting for me.
Mhm.
But like that's because I don't like that stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like what you were saying. I know people do. I don't. So it's not really for me. But I'm sure some people love this movie, and cool, man.
Yeah,
Cool.
no, I think that like, yeah, the way you said that though, that kind of like says makes me think of like when I first watched this. I think what drew me to it was the way it was directed, because I actually think it is like, despite the faults of like the situations that are you have to film,
Yep.
it's like really it's well made and well told, but it's
It
just
is.
like not a it's a slog. Like
It's
yeah,
a slog, and it becomes uninteresting too.
yeah.
Like when she's like chained up in his house and they're just like waiting it out, you're just like, okay, this is about half an hour. That could be 10 minutes. Because there's things that like don't even make sense. It's like, why are they just like waiting outside? Like eventually they do storm in to like try to do stuff, but it's like I don't understand like why certain things are happening
Right.
in the story. And maybe I wasn't paying attention
Other
close
than
enough.
to get
But
things, other than to make things worse, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, look at them; they're starving to death in their house. They're rationing. Isn't
Yeah.
this fucked up? And it's like
Mhm.
I kept thinking, like, actually, when we started recording, I started thinking, I'm like, oh, it's kind of like Dead Ringers, like that. But
Little bit.
but it's just this idea of like people kind of like cutting themselves off and like kind of letting their lives fall apart and their bodies are falling apart and they're just like locked themselves up in
Yeah.
a room, and it's like similar, but I mean, you want to see a case of a movie that's like excellent and really well made, watch Dead Ringers.
You-
For the flip
you-
side.
You know what, too? A really good point about that is in Dead Ringers, when they're locked up, that's all self-inflicted. Like they're doing it to themselves, but you still like you sympathize for them. You feel really bad for them. Where in this one, like you should feel bad for them because like they can't leave because they'll die. But when you watch it, you're like, I don't care. You're like, I don't feel bad for these people at all. Like they're shitty people. Like maybe not her because like she's been like hypnotized by Stockholm syndrome or whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
Like I think that's kind of what they're getting at. But yeah, like you don't feel bad for the guy. It's like the whole first half of this movie was explaining how he was like this gross rapist at a concentration camp,
pretending to be a doctor as a Nazi,
pretending to
like
be
a
a
Nazi
doctor.
filmographer.
Yeah, so it's like why should you feel bad for him? And I guess maybe that's the point, but it's like I was saying, like when they do things at the end there, it's like I don't understand why if this secret Nazi like tribunal that like have meetings and like
This cabal.
yeah, this cabal that like works so hard to conceal their identity. Like if they really wanted to go in there to kill those people, they would. So like, why is there this build up other than like what you were saying? It's like, ooh man, isn't it edgy that they're starving to death? It's like, it's just like what happened in concentration camps, and you're just like, whatever. Like, shut up.
Yeah, there's just something lacking in the telling of it. Like it just, I don't know. Like again, this is like not even fair to compare, but like we watched Planet of the Apes, and there came a point where I'm like, oh, I got to head out, and then it's like, oh, hey, what time are we at? Because I want to know what time I have to jump back into this movie when I get home. And it was like, holy shit, we've been watching this movie for like an hour and 15 minutes. Like it feels like it's like been like 45 minutes, and it's like that's like sort of like a measure of pleasure that one can have from watching something where you're like time just blows by and you're unaware of the passage of time. And I've always find that like the best movies, the movies I always go back to are the movies where I'm not aware of it. And there's like, it seems like there are movies though that like I'm aware of their passage of time, but I still don't regret watching it, and I would watch again. But I know that they're not as good as those movies I really, really like. If that makes sense.
That does make sense. I think I'm going to propose a new segment here. It'll be a timestamp segment because we do talk about this a lot. When do you timestamp the movie? Where it's like, when have you actually looked it up? So because we do talk about it a lot, and I think it is a good measure of a good movie. Like for Conquest of Planet of the Apes, I didn't even look at it. Other than like, I think it was 10 minutes was left, and I looked to see how much was left because I was like, ooh man, I hope there's a lot of this movie left because I fucking love it. This movie, The Night Porter, I wrote it down. I first checked the clock at 22 minutes because I think that was when the first gross scene came up, and I was just like, all right, how long is this fucking movie? And I looked at it there. So for me, I looked at my timestamp was 22 minutes, and I think you said yours was an hour. Or you? That's
it
when
wasn't.
you, like,
no, it was like I wasn't thinking about it, but then when I hit the hour, I hit it at an hour and a half, being like, okay, how many minutes are left in the movie? And I realized, oh shit, there's still like a half hour, and like I was like, oh, because like it felt like the movie should be ending there, but then there was still like 30 minutes just tacked onto the end.
Exactly. So I think if people out there listening think the timestamp segment is worth the while, we can add it.
Okay.
And it's not like it's gonna take an hour.
That's the new star rating.
That's the new star rating is the timestamp. If it's anything below like 50% of the movie, then it's probably not our favorite. So anything past 50% of the actual runtime might be a thumbs up.
Okay, we'll try it. I don't know. I feel like that's like a dangerous thing.
No,
I mean,
like,
other
what's
than
gonna
like
happen? We're gonna do it next week, and then we'll forget about it. And do it next week, I'll just be like, I mean, when we're talking about the movie, I'll be like, I checked the clock at 30 minutes, and you'll be like, yeah, me too.
Yeah,
and then done, and then it'll never come up again.
Okay.
So
okay.
Anyways,
we'll try it. Hey, okay.
Yeah.
I got a hot take for you.
Oh fuck.
And this is that while watching this, it kind of hits me how this movie is sort of the anti-summertime.
Whoa. Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah, because it's like because you're in a foreign country and you have like this like woman traveling through like a exotic location, and it's like this relationship that like should not matter, and it's like I mean I don't know, I would probably watch Summertime again before I'd watch The Night Porter. Well, I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, for
Well,
me,
yeah, Summertime's a good fucking movie.
well, I know you liked it. I was pretty indifferent to it, but I found
Yeah.
like Night Porter and Summertime. It's like they're kind of they have like they're very similar in that they're completely the opposite of one
Yeah.
another, but they're both like they just lack something that I am interested in when I watch
I
movies, I guess.
I know. I know you think that,
Hmm.
but it's like I think it keeps coming up, man. David's Summertime Lean. He
Yeah.
keeps popping up on this fucking show, and I do believe that one day you're gonna go back and your opinion is gonna change on that movie. And
Yeah.
I didn't even like I'm not trying to be the champion of Summertime either. Like I don't think I liked it that much, but
Hmm.
I still thought it was good. So I think one day you'll go back and you'll be like, you know what, Summertime is pretty legit,
To quit,
brah.
brah. But hey, RJ, guess what?
Yes.
Other people hate this movie.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Actually, that's yeah. I totally believe that one.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Maybe.
well, maybe okay. I'll ask it after we go through these comments here from
Okay.
a guy who uses like letters to represent the face of a cat. He gave this half a
Mhm.
star. Exploitative and dull. Weak narrative intersped with nauseating attempts at eroticism. This is not BDSM. It romanticizes abuse and objectifies Holocaust victims as the backdrop. Mostly, I have no idea what this film was trying to say. Perhaps I got the visceral reaction the director wanted, but either she lacked the skill to impart any sort of redeeming message, or I just didn't pick up on it. At any rate, I don't think it's aged well.
He kind of said what you said
Yeah, I think
to a point.
to a point. Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually a fairly articulate, succinct way of saying it.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if I give this a half star. I don't think
Yeah.
it's like in that ballpark. But you know who also commented? Goremaster. Our
No!
Goremaster's back.
Oh my
he
God.
gave this movie 1 star.
Nice.
Good plot, but the movie is too damn dreary.
Man, the Gore Master fucking knows what's up. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he gets it, man.
Mm-hmm.
He really gets it.
And then the movie Vampire, who's a fellow I follow. I enjoy his reviews. He writes actually quite lengthy ones these days. Back in 2012, he wrote of this 1.5 star. I've always found the cover of the Criterion DVD of this movie to be rather striking and provocative, given that I thought the movie could be salacious. That's a $5 word right there. Or that it could be offensive. But the last thing I thought it would be was boring. And yet that's exactly what it was. This is a slow, plodding, and poorly acted affair. Really doesn't have all that much to say about either the Holocaust or sadomasochism. The scene that the cover comes from remains provocative and iconic for better or worse. The rest was a chore to sit through.
I would really like to know what Gore Master's actually. Wait, I answered my own question where he's like, this has nothing to do with sadomasochism. It's like, so what does? But I guess he's a big fan of Hellraiser, so.
Well,
There's
no,
your-
Goremaster didn't say anything about that. He just thought the movie was too damn dreary.
Oh, well, there's not enough gore, I guess.
Well, that goes without saying. I mean, he's the master. He would know.
Maybe if at the Holocaust camp, maybe, or at the concentration camp, maybe if a lot of the people had sores, that would have been more appealing to him. Just like open sores everywhere.
And maybe some werewolves of the SS or something. I don't know.
Ooh.
So RJ, how does the Night Porter stack up with something like Salo?
It's not as gross as Salo.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is as gross as Salo. I don't know, man. Neither of them are movies that I like, and I think that's very obvious. If anyone who's listened to a single episode that knows my taste,
Yeah.
which is like goofy alien 80s movies
With Mel Gibson.
with Mel Gibson, yeah, I think yeah, they know that this isn't my brand of stew. So
Yeah, there's like Signs, and then there's the Night Porter.
The Night Porter.
And Salo.
and Salo. Yeah, so I lean heavily to the opposite end of that spectrum. I'm on the spectrum, Jarrett, but on the other end.
Life on the Spectrum.
Life on the Spectrum.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the movie. I feel like it just hasn't aged well for me. I think like having watched a lot of movies that like are also like exploitative and like kind of thoughtful as well. Like they've walked that fine line. I don't know. I would rather watch those for the most part.
So
Yeah.
I was gonna say like I was honestly I'm trying to be fair to these movies and be like have an actual critical thought about like what's going on, and so
Mm.
like that's what I was saying with this one is like I think there are good parts to it. It's just and it's not even just that the content or the story I don't like. I just feel like it kind of fizzles out and it doesn't do anything. So
Yep. I
whereas
agree.
with the Savo movie is just gross. And I don't that's a story for another day.
That you can listen to. Well, people can listen to
Go
that
back to that
episode because
episode.
I feel like I made a pretty good argument that it wasn't just gross.
You made a pretty good argument that you're gross. So
And this movie is just kind of a slog, a boring, dreary slog of a thing that
yep.
I don't know. It's definitely I think it's kind of a dud at the end of the day. I'm sad to say.
Yep. Not much to it.
Nope. Other than that cool cover and it's provocative. It's salacious, if you will.
Ooh. Well,
Yeah. Well, I think that's it.
oh yeah, that's definitely it. There's nothing more that could be said about this movie.
After the break, we're going to walk down a bridge and get gunned down.
Ooh.
See, that's a theme that people can pick up on.
That's true, actually.
One of us dies now all the time.